Okay, last week we finished talking about steam baths or saunas. We saw how important they are to maintain health and to recover health. Anything that has to do with hot and cold with water, it's very health empowering. There is nothing more empowering to our body than to expose it to a careful exchange of hot and cold. And steam bath or saunas are very, very useful. And I showed you a video last week. There we spoke about the reality that there are two forms of steam bath. There's the one that you use for increasing your circulation, and then there is the one for detoxification. And I've given you the methods here, but I want to point out that you can buy a steam tent like the one you see in the picture here, with its steamer in eBay for about $150, I would say. You just go to eBay and search for steam tent, and they will appear there, many of them. And just buy one that the steamer can, it's stainless steel, it holds 3 liters of water, and with that it'll be more than enough, and you will have use here of that for many years. And that every home should have a steam sauna or a steam bath. They are very, very useful. And how often should you take them? At least once a week. That will keep you, going. Now, every home also should have a juicer, because when you do a detox, you will need a juicer. And the juices of fresh squeezed vegetable and fruit juices it is like having multivitamins and minerals. Now, in regards to juicing, you will want to have your fruit juices once a day in the morning. That's before breakfast. You will have a nice fruit juice of, you can have, apple tends to be the basic, because apple is the queen of juices. And so you would have apple with orange, or apple with pineapple, or apple, orange, and pineapple, whatever. You can mix any fruit with apple. And then in the vegetable juices, which are the ideal juices, you would have the base juice is always carrot, because in the vegetable kingdom, carrot is the queen. And so you would have carrot, and then you would add your different vegetables, like beetroot. Beetroot is an excellent blood builder and blood cleanser. Is a detoxifying agent, very, very powerful. If you're anemic, you can have carrot, beetroot, and grape juice. It's extremely powerful to build your blood up. And so, and every home should have a juicer, and there are different types of juices. You have your centrifugal juices, which are the cheapest, the most available ones, but because they juice at a high speed, they destroy a lot of the nutrients. But if you do not have a lot of money, buy yourself a good centrifugal juicer, and it will last you a long while. But if you can save money and you can invest in a better juicer, then you can buy yourself what is called a slow juicer. And these juices tend to keep the nutrients and the grade of the fruit or vegetables you use. They keep it. It's some of them they are up to 95% of the amount of nutrients they keep, and they come in different orders. They come the top juices, like the first one, and they come the single auger parallel juices. And then many years ago, the one that was very, very common was the champion juicer, which was a good juicer. It wasn't very, it lost a lot of the juice when juicing, but it was better than a centrifugal juicer. They are dearer than centrifugal juices, but they do what is called cold juicing, because they do not increase the temperature of the juice when you are juicing, which a centrifugal juicer does, because of the speed at which juices. The juice keeps for longer. You can keep these juices for 12 hours in the fridge, 24 hours, no problems. And then comes the Dira juices, which are the twin-ghee juices or the masticating juices. And these are some of them that you can find. The best of them is this one called the Angel Juicer. I believe it's made by an Adventist in Korea, because the symbol is 3 angels. And so it's all stainless steel, it's of high quality, it's expensive, but you buy this juicer and it will last your lifetime. It's just fantastic, very, very good, the Angel Juicer. And they are the dearest in the range, but they are much better quality. They last a long time. The juice is much better, and you can you can keep juice 24 hours in the fridge. Now, the most expensive juicer, and I have 2 of these juices, is what is called the press juicer. And this juicer is called the Norwalk. It's very hard to find them in Australia. They're very expensive. When we had our health center, we bought 2 of them, and I inherited them once the health center closed. And so, and we use them whenever we need to use them. We use this. It has 2 steps. You first put your vegetables or your fruits through like a big what would you call, like a wheel that mashes or everything, turns your juices into pulp, and then you put that pulp, you put it inside a bag, a linen bag, and then you press the juice, and there is nothing like it. The fiber comes out almost dry from the pressing, and the juice tastes fantastic. And we've had that juice now for more than 10 years, never let us down. And so they are very good. Now, if anyone wants to buy a good juicer, we are thinking to sell one of them. So if you are interested, getting in contact with me. I'm not talking about juices to sell the juice. I'm just making it available. They are difficult to get in Australia. And if you're interested and you know about these juices, Norwalk, and you're interested in getting one, I'll be happy to sell you one of the ones that we have. So that's regarding juices. Every home should have a juicer. And the best juicer you can afford is an investment. Juices, steam baths, and everything I'm going to show you tonight is an investment on yourself. It's not a waste of money. You're investing on your health. And it is that which you will use the longest, because everything else grows old, but your body, you need to try to keep it as young as possible and as healthy as possible, the longest possible. And the only way to do that is by investing in yourself. All right, tonight also I'd like to talk about probably one of the most powerful hydrotherapy treatments that someone can do. And there's not a lot on the internet. I search for videos to show you how to be done, and I didn't find any good one. And the fever bath has the purpose of immersing the body into a hot water bath that will create a fever. And why are we seeking to create a fever? Because fever is the body's mechanism to destroy pathogens. And so what the body does when there is a viral attack or any kind of pathogen attack that attacks your immune system, the body will raise its temperature 1.5 degrees to 2 degrees, and sometimes even more than that. And in normal medicine, they attack the fever. They give you tablets to bring down the fever. But fever is not dangerous if fever is properly managed. We should not seek, when someone has fever, we should not seek to bring the fever down, but we should seek to manage the fever, because the body is fighting a fight, and the fever will naturally reduce when the body has won the fight. And so I taught you one mechanism by which you can manage fever, which is the cold water rubs, where you rub your body with cold water every half an hour, 1 hour. And the body, what it does, that the moment you put cold water in your body, the body will raise the temperature. And so you are cooperating with the body by empowering the body to raise the temperature, even though it's feverish. And in doing that, the body will raise the temperature. And what it does, it destroys pathogens, it multiplies your immune system, your white cells go crazy, literally crazy. And it shortens the time that you are sick. And so when somebody is sick with serious illnesses, we use the fever bath to emulate a fever in the body and to maintain a fever for 20 to 30 minutes, so that the body will fight, will detox, the body open all its pores, it begins to throw toxins like crazy, onto your skin, and it's just wonderful. And so a fever bath is very simple to do. It's like taking a hot bath, but it's a little bit different. And so you need to, in order to take a fever bath, you need to fill a bathtub with hot water. And you need to keep it at 40 degrees right through the experience. The person, you or whoever needs to take the bath, will sit on that hot water, for about, the whole experience is going to be about 25, 30 minutes. And you need to maintain, I stress the fact that you need to have a thermometer that you will maintain the water in the bath at 40 degrees. Now, you don't have to be wholly immersed. As long as you have most of your body immersed in it, it will work the trick. If your bathtub is not too big and your knees stick out of the water, it's fine, no problems. Even if you have to sit and the water comes up to about your halfway your belly, it will work the trick, as long as you're in really hot water, 40 degrees. And you will then need a body thermometer, and you will take the temperature of your body. And when the body reaches to about 38.5 degrees, then you will seek to maintain that temperature for 20 minutes. For 20 minutes. Now, if you want to do it even more drastic, if you're drastic in this, you will put in the bathtub, in the hot water, you will put a big pillowcase filled with cayenne pepper, with mustard, and ginger. Ginger, cayenne pepper, and mustard. You will make 3 big bunches and put them, and you will soak the water in that, and the water is going to become not only hot, but it's going to be spicy hot. That creates a real fever in the body. And if you want to know more about this, you can search in the internet for the cold sheet treatment by Dr. Richard Schulze. And you can read about it. It's very powerful. They, when they are treating problems like advanced cancer, they would immerse you into this for 20, 30 minutes. And the reaction, it's just amazing. It's not only healing for the body, but it also heals the mind. People often begin to cry, and things of the past start coming out, and they start, talking and confessing. And I remember one of the women we had in the health center. The female therapist, she said that the woman confessed and talked about all her childhood life, things she had never spoken to anyone. And that woman was healed physically and mentally. Many of our illnesses are attached to emotions. If you have been abused, if you carry, ill memories of your past, if you have anger with people, if you feel a desire for revenge, or that you've been cheated, or you don't feel loved, those things accumulate in your body. Your cells have memories. And so it is important to release them, to talk about, to honestly forgive and let go and love rather than hate. And the fever bath works amazingly. We do not understand how it opens up the mind. Could it be that people are thinking when it's so hot that they are going to hell? and so after the 20 minutes, while you're in the bathtub, and you maintain the temperature at 30, you need to have someone with you. You cannot do this alone. You maintain the temperature of your body at 38.5 degrees. You need to drink no less than 4 glasses. Optimum is 6, but if you can, 8 glasses of hot ginger tea. Why ginger? Because ginger empowers the body to detox and also to sweat. And if you can have yarrow, it's even better. Yarrow tea. And you need to drink it. This is not optional. The tea is a must. Then once you've finished, while you're in the bathtub, you need to put up a cold towel covering your head, because you will start feeling dizzy. And so you will cover your head with a very cold towel, and the person that is helping you will continue to wet that towel in cold water, because then the head needs to stay cold. Otherwise, you may have a faint. You may faint. And so what we do is we tend to have a bit of cayenne pepper somewhere there, so that if the person feels like fainting, you put a bit of cayenne pepper under your tongue, and that will bring the person right back. They will not want to faint. And so once you are done, you come out of the bathtub. You need to do it carefully, because you will feel a little bit, dizzy. And it would be best to finish the hot bath with a cold sheet wrap. What I taught you, I think it was in the first or the second meeting, how to have a cold sheet wrap. Then you will finish it like that. But if you cannot, then you will rub your body with very cold water, and then you will go to bed, and you will sleep like a baby. So that is very, very powerful. So if you're feeling that you're gonna get the flu, or that that you're coming down with something, have a fever bath. And often that will be the solution, because your body will just go into reaction mode. It's wonderful. It's actually really, really therapeutical. Okay, so that is the fever bath. If you have any questions about this, we'll ask the questions at the end. Now, another thing that is very, very, very powerful for health, and everything that I'm showing you here, I'm going to bring it together later on as we talk about COVID. It's a garlic or onion poultice. And this is the way you make this poultice. This poultice is applied to the feet, because the feet have the largest pores on your hands. Now, if you have problems with your feet, you can also put it on the palms of your hands, because they have the same type of pores as the sole of your feet. And so what we'll do to do the poultice, you will chop or crush 2 large garlic cloves. If you have larger feet, you can make 4 if you want. You will mix it with olive oil, and you will form a thick paste. Then you will divide the paste in 2 equal portions, and you will take 2 pieces of paper towel, fold them in half, and then you will, each one of those portions of garlic, you will put them inside of the folded paper towel, so that let's say this is one of the face of the paper towel. You spread the garlic here, calculating the size of the sole of the foot, and then you will fold the other half of the paper towel on top, so that when you put the garlic on the sole of the foot, the garlic will not touch the skin. Why is it that we don't want the garlic to touch the skin? Because it can blister. It will not form a wound, but it will blister. But if you put it on paper, it will have the same effect. The oil will take the essence of the garlic through the paper and through the skin, and the pores will absorb it, and the blood will take that garlic wherever is needed most. And this is excellent to help chest congestion. Anything that you are congested on the chest, you have cough, you suffer asthma, this poultice is magical. We were camping many years ago at Scott's Head, and we made friends there. And one family had a little girl, and she got an asthma attack, and the parents really panicked because they didn't have the PAFA. And I said to them, would you let me do a poultice on her? And they did say, yes, okay. And I put the garlic poultice. The asthma attack subsided almost immediately. The girl slept all night, no problem. And the next morning she woke up without a sign of asthma. And the parents said that they were amazed because they said that whenever she has an asthma attack, she ends up in hospital. So that's how powerful these poultices are, these natural remedies. And you can do the same with onion. Onion is less powerful, but you can also do it with onion. And so before you put the poultice, the paper on the foot, you will smear generously on the sole of the foot. You will smear olive oil to protect the skin again. So then you will put the paper on the sole of the foot. You will wrap it with plastic and put a sock on it. And I'm going to show you just very quickly how to do it in a video. She's showing how to do a onion poultice on the foot. I just want you to see how it is done. Well, if you cannot hear it, that's all right. It's what she's doing that we want to see. You see, she's applying the poultice to the foot, the onion poultice. The onion poultice doesn't need to be done like the garlic, but she's wrapping it in plastic, and then she puts the sock on the foot. And that's what we want. The sock will keep everything in place. And then the person can sleep with that poultice all night. And in the morning, the garlic will be completely dry. All the juices of the garlic would have been absorbed into the body, and the body would have used them. 15 minutes after you put the poultice on the foot, you will start smelling garlic on your mouth. That's how powerful this thing is. So it really works. It works wonders. All right, so let's go now, advance to a charcoal and castor oil poultice. This is what we call a drawing poultice, and I'm going to use it at the end of the program to help you protect yourself. If you are vaccinated and you didn't want to get vaccinated, you can use this poultice in a very special way. And this is a drawing poultice. What does this do is that it draws a thing out of your body through your skin. It's very powerful. For example, if you have a splinter on your finger or any part of your body and you cannot access it, because it's very deep, you put this poultice on, even just castor oil on it in a poultice, and you keep it there day and night. Eventually, the splinter will come back out of your skin, and you will be able to pull it without any problems. And so to do this poultice, you mix charcoal and castor oil until the consistency is like toothpaste. You will spread it on a piece of cotton fabric to the desired size that you need and to a couple millimeters thick. Make it thickish so that it will not dry too quickly. Then you will place the poultice on the desired part of the body. And how do you do that? You will place it, let's say you want to put it on your arm, you will place it here, then you will wrap around the poultice plastic so that it goes above it and below it, especially below it because you do not want it to leak. You will then cover it with plastic, as I said, and then you will wrap it with a woolen or a cotton piece of cloth. And that is tight, but it's not too tight. You want blood flow to go there. And then you will change it every 3 hours for a fresh poultice. And you will keep doing that until you have achieved the desired result. For example, if you get stung by a bee, you do this poultice, it will fix it in a couple of hours. If you get stung by a snake, you put a tourniquet above where the snake bite was, then you put this poultice on that area, and even you can wrap the whole place. Let's say you got bitten on the foot by a spider or by a snake. Then you will wrap your whole leg with a long poultice that you do with a long piece of cloth, and you will make a lot of poultice, and then you will wrap it around. People that go camping often take poultices like this already made in cooler bars, and so they have them ready available just in case. Any infection, anything that happens under your skin, you can draw it through your skin with this poultice. And you will keep doing it until you have achieved the result. Keep that in mind, because you can draw anything out of your body through your skin. Isn't that amazing? Because the skin can suck anything through your skin into the body. For example, if you are dehydrated and you have vomiting and you cannot drink water, you put warm water in your bathtub and you immerse yourself in it for a couple of hours, and your body will drink the water that is needed through your skin. And so you don't have to be dehydrated. And you can do that many days until the vomiting stops. So it's whatever, you can put things through your skin, but also you can bring things out through your skin too, if you know how to use it. And this drawing poultice is going to be very useful when we come to talk about the vaccine in a little while. All right. The viral bomb. This is a natural concoction to destroy a viral attack in your body. And I called it the viral bomb. Others call it the flu bomb. It's very powerful. And this is the way you mix in a blender 1 head of garlic. That's a lot of garlic. And it has to be Australian garlic. No Chinese garlic. Chinese garlic has been irradiated, and that's why it's nice and white. It has been chlorinated, bleached, and also it has been irradiated. So it has no properties whatsoever. You want good Australian garlic, and you know when garlic is good because inside, when underneath the white skin, there is brownish, reddish skin that is dark. Then you know that is good garlic. You will put 1 head of garlic, you will put 1 large onion chopped, a large piece of ginger, a large piece of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Wow, this is a bomb. And then you will put 3 whole lemons, not just the juice, the whole lemon. And then you will add lots of honey, because the honey will soften the flavor without taking the good properties of everything. And the honey itself has excellent health properties, especially, decongest well, honey is anti-inflammatory. It decongests your lungs. And so honey is very good. It kills bacteria, it kills viruses. So you will put a lot of honey in it. Just be generous. In this thing, I put figures there because I know that people want exactitude. But in this, you don't have to be exact. You can just put, and if something else comes to your mind that you could put in it, just put it in it. You can put, for example, you can add in this, you can add herbs like, I was just getting my mind, my head is working slow today. It'll come back to me. If you have Manuka honey, even better. Manuka honey is fantastic. You will blend all your ingredients together, and if it's too thick, you will add more juice, more lemon juice, until it's runny, because you want it runny. And then once everything is smooth and runny, you will pass it through a sieve to take all the fibers. You will store it in a glass jar, and then you will have this according to your need. If it's acute, you will have a teaspoon every hour or even half an hour. You cannot overdose in this. The worst thing that can happen to you is that you will kill dragons by your breath. But that's the worst thing that can happen. And if it's not acute, then you will have a tablespoon 3 times a day. So a teaspoon every hour or half an hour. If it's acute, if it's not acute, then you will have, every a tablespoon every 3 hours. This is very powerful, extremely powerful. I gave this mix to someone in South Africa, and they went around giving it to their neighbors when they contracted COVID. and it worked wonders. Now, remember always that these things are the hand of God cooperating with us. And so it is, these things don't heal if it's not by the power of God. God is the one who always heals. And so before we do any treatments, we always pray and we always ask God to bless us. Now, I'd like to show you two technologies that I use. One I have been using for many years. The other one I have just started using it a couple of weeks ago. And these are wonderful instruments. This is called a Pathogen Zappa, and it's literally that. This Zappa works through frequencies around the 30 megahertz. And what it does, it kills bacteria, it kills viruses, it kills fungus, it kills any pathogens that are found in your bloodstream. It will kill them. And it works wonders. I have seen it in my own life, and a number of members of my family, my mother uses it, my sister-in-law uses it, and I have recommended it successfully to many people. And for example, my sister-in-law was suffering urinary tract infection for years and years. It was, when it came, it was bad. This is especially common amongst Chilean women. And she went crazy because she was using anything and nothing was stopping it. And one day I said to her, why don't you use the Zappa? She didn't believe it much, but she was at the end of her tether. So she said, okay, could you lend it to me? So I lent her my Zappa. And she did a treatment for 3 months. After 2 weeks of treating, the blood had stopped, all the problems had stopped, and she has never had a reoccurrence of that problem again. And so it kills, it truly works. If you, for example, when COVID began, my brother, my sister-in-law, and the 2 children were in China. And they came then from China, they traveled, I think, to Thailand, and from Thailand to Singapore. By the time they arrived in Singapore, my brother was sick as a dog. And my sister believes today, by the symptoms, that he had COVID, but no one knew about COVID in those days. It was just beginning. That was February of 2020. He was sick. He could hardly breathe. He lost all sense of smell and flavor. He was sick, and she put the Zappa on him. In 3 days, he recovered completely. But she put the Zappa day and night, and he recovered. And then the daughter came down with it too, and she did the same. And my sister never got sick. My sister-in-law never got sick because she was using it. Every day she was using it. And the other piece of instrument, and if you would like, I didn't put the website here, but if you want to buy a Zappa, you can go to the internet. There's 2 types of Zappa. There's one called Hulda Clark's Zappa, which is the blue one you're seeing here. That's the one I have. And this is expensive. And then there is another one called Bob Beck's Zappa, and they work on different types of principles. Hulda Clark's Zappa works on frequencies. Bob Beck's Zappa works on electrical currents. You put electrodes on your wrist for Bob Beck's Zappa, and it sends small currents through your blood, and it's extremely effective. People have healed of all kinds of viral diseases through these 2 types of Zappa. You can go do a search of it, and you can buy the Bob Beck Zappa here in Australia. I just bought one to test it because I have never used that one, and I've been using it. And well, I haven't been sick, so I don't know. I don't know how good it is. But according to testimonies in the internet, it's fantastic. And I'm testing that one. Then the other piece of technology that I'd like to share with you is what is called PEMF, Pulsed Electromagnetic Field. Pulsed Electromagnetic Field. And I've got it here, I've been using it. And how it works is that this machine produces electromagnetic field, and it pulsates. And as it pulsates, the frequencies that the electromagnetic field produces charges your blood. It restores your cells. It doesn't wonder there's video clips on the internet on how fast it works on pain, or it works on, for example, this is, by the way, it was invented by NASA, and it is used as a medical equipment in Europe and in the United States. I don't know why it's not known very much here in Australia, but athletes use it to recover quicker. They use it on animals, on horses, when they after races, so that they will recover from the sprains or bruises quicker. It does the same for us. I had a frozen shoulder for months. I could hardly lift it. It was painful, and it became worse, looking after my father-in-law. And I began to using that, and look at my shoulder now. I have hardly any pain. And if it's painful because I had to move that, turn him around, change nappies, pull him up, and it becomes painful, I put it on, and in 15 minutes, the pain is almost gone. A friend of mine, Louis, his wife Anna told me about this. They discovered by surprise. He suffered a stroke, and they were going to a health professional, and he talked to them about it. And Louis laid on the mat. He was using a lot of pain medication, and Anna realized that Louis began to recover, and he wasn't suffering much pain, and so she began to withdraw the pain medication. Eventually, he had no pain whatsoever. And so the PEMF is very good to dissolve blood clots. It's very good to attack inflammation of any kind. Just keep that in mind as you think of COVID. And so it's extremely good to have. How you can learn, just look for PEMF on the internet, and you will find tons of information. And if you want to buy one, this one that I found in Australia, the one I'm showing there, it is the cheapest one of the cheapest ones in the world. It's one of the most powerful, and it works a treat. It's made in North Queensland by a Christian old man, and it works wonderful. And it's affordable. It's not cheap, but it's affordable, much affordable than anything else I found there. I looked for weeks. I prayed, Lord, I cannot afford these other machines. Could you please lead me to one that I can afford? And he led me to this one, and it's just fantastic. My father-in-law is with us. He's got dementia, and he came home with an ulcer on his foot. We brought him from the nursing home because they told us he was dying, and we couldn't visit him, and we didn't want him to die alone. He wasn't drinking, he wasn't eating. And so he came home, and we discovered he had a big ulcer on one of his foot. And in old people, bed ulcers do not heal. So I started testing the machine on him. I put it morning and evening in 2 types of frequencies. And I was curious to know how the wound was going. So last week, the nurse came to change the dressings. And I looked to the wound. When it came, the nurse measured it, and it was 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters, and it was very deep. And last week, she came, and I looked at it, and I said, "Hey, it looks smaller." And she said, "Oh, no, they don't heal, so don't even think." She said, "Oh, okay." And then on Thursday, she came again, and I because she's teaching me to dress it, and so I said, "Humby," her name is Humby. "Humby, it looks smaller, doesn't it?" And she looked at it and she said, "Yeah, it does look smaller." So she took a measuring thing and she measured it, and she said, "Sam, it's now 1/2. And she says, "What have you been doing?" And so I told her about PEMF, and she said, "Wow." When that came home, he could hardly speak. We thought he was going to die right there and then. We started giving him good food, lots of love, and talking to him and all that. But he couldn't speak coherently, not 1 or 2 words, didn't recognize any one of us. And I started putting this on a frequency to treat dementia. And now he's singing. He sings, now he can pray. It's just incredible. That's why the Lord has given us instruments, technologies to support our health. They are completely healthy. They do not destroy any part of your body. They build you up. And so it's good to have them at home. All these things is investment on your health. All right. I want to change gears now. I've got a fair bit more to talk. I hope you have a bit of time to stay, and we're going to go a little longer after 7. But I want to ask the question: in the pathway of healing, how could we choose a pathway? And I mean this: the times comes when we come to a crossroads, choosing between natural healing and allopathic medicine. I mean orthodox medicine and the natural way. How could we choose it? And I'm going to share with you a number of inspired counsels written by Ellen White. And here I want you to notice the way she counsels us to use natural remedies above drugs and common medicine. But also she gives counsel how we are to relate to this type of medicine. Notice she says in the book, Counsels on Health, she says there are many ways of practicing the healing art, but there is only one way that heaven approves. God's remedies are the simple agencies of nature that will not tax or debilitate the system through their powerful properties: pure air and water, cleanliness, a proper diet, purity of life, and a firm trust in God are remedies for the want of which thousands are dying, yet these remedies are going out of date because their skillful use requires work that the people do not appreciate. You see, people are used to just swallowing a pill and expecting health out of a pill, expecting health out of a vaccine. Fresh air, exercise, pure water, and clean, sweet premises are within the reach of all with but little expense. They are cheap. But drugs are expensive, both in the outlay of means and the effect produced upon the system. And it's so true. We speak of side effects when we use drugs, and they are expensive. Sometimes a drug covers one disease but creates multiple of others. And so we need to be careful on how we choose the pathway of healing. Another quote comes from the same book, says, the only hope of better things is in the education of the people in right principles. Let physicians teach the people that restorative power is not in drugs, but in nature. Disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from a violation of the laws of health. In case of sickness, the cause should be ascertained. Unhealthful conditions should be changed, wrong habits corrected. Then nature is to be assisted in her effort to expel impurities and to re-establish right conditions in the system. Can you see how she gives a pathway to health? And it's a simple pathway. We are to cooperate with nature in correcting evil habits, in doing good habits. And then we are to help the body in the effort to expel the disease. And that's why we use herbs and hydrotherapy, and we use, things like, the technologies and things like that. Now she defines the means that we must first and foremost use. She says pure air, sunlight, abstemiousness, rest, exercise, proper diet, the use of water, trust in divine power. These are the true remedies. Did you notice that? These are the true remedies. Every person should have a knowledge of nature's remedial agencies and how to apply them. It is essential both to understand the principles involved in the treatment of the sick and to have a practical training that will enable one rightly to use this knowledge. So all of us should make ourselves intelligent in the character of these remedies, and also how to use them practically, when to use them, how to apply them. The use of natural remedies requires an amount of care and effort that many are not willing to give. Nature's process of healing and upbuilding is gradual, and to the impatient, it seems slow. The surrender of hurtful indulgences requires sacrifice, but in the end, it will be found that nature, untrammeled, does her work wisely and well. Those who persevere in obedience to her laws will reap, those who persevere in obedience to her laws will reap the reward in health of body and health of mind. Cooperation with nature, working according to the way nature works. Now she talks about drugs. Drug medication, as it is generally practiced, is a curse. Educate away from drugs. Use them less and less. Did you notice that? Use them less and less and depend more upon hygienic agencies. Then nature will respond to God's physicians. Pure air, pure water, proper exercise, a clear conscience. That's God. They are God's physicians. Those who persist in the use of tea, coffee, and flesh meats will feel the need of drugs, but many might recover without 1 grain of medicine if they would obey the laws of health. Drugs need seldom be used. Drugs need seldom be used. Another one. My dear friends, instead of taking a course to baffle disease, you are petting it and yielding to its power. She's talking to a doctor. You should avoid the use of drugs and carefully observe the laws of health. If you regard your life, you should eat plain food prepared in the simplest manner and take more physical exercise. Each member of the family needs the benefits of health reform, but drugging should be forever abandoned. For while it does not cure any malady, it enfeebles the system, making it more susceptible to disease. How true. The very nature of drugs does that. It doesn't strengthen the system, but it enfeebles it. Another one. When you understand physiology in its truest sense, your drug bills will be very much smaller, and finally, you will cease to deal out drugs at all. She's talking to another physician. The physician who depends upon drugs medication in his practice shows that he does not understand the delicate machinery of the human organism. He is introducing into the system a seed crop that will never lose its destroying properties throughout the lifetime. I tell you this because I dare not withhold it. Christ paid too much for man's redemption to have his body so ruthlessly treated as it has been by drug medication. Years ago, the Lord revealed to me that institutions should be established for the treating of the sick without drugs. Man is God's property, and the ruin that has been made of the living habitation, the suffering caused by the seeds of death sown in the human system, are an offense to God. Wow, that's very powerful in the context of what's happening in our world today. And so when we need to recover our health, we need to choose carefully the pathway that we will choose. Many, as soon as they are sick, they run to the doctor and they run for just medications. But that's not the way we've been counseled. We've been counseled that we have to always, first and foremost, seek for nature's remedies. And the first option should be what nature offers us in the most natural way: hydrotherapy, exercise, diet, sunshine, massage, rest, poultices, juicing, detoxing, and there's many others. All right, the second option that we can use to cooperate with this is the use of herbs, natural supplements, and technologies. But let's say that amongst this, I have a disease, that amongst these two systems, my disease does not respond to this. Then, with clear conscience, once I have honestly and deeply sought for a natural way of healing, and I found that God has not revealed a way of healing my disease, and I believe that today there's hardly any disease that cannot be dealt with naturally, then I have permission to go to the third option, which is medicines that have low side effects. If you have to use medicine, you need to inquire with your doctor about the side effects, the cost of that medicine to your body, because all medicine have a heavy burden on the body, some more, some less. And so we need to use the ones that have less. But if even amongst the ones that have little side effects, there is nothing to help me, then I can go to the fourth option and the final option, which is medicines with high side effects. But as I said before, I believe that today, with the amount of knowledge in health and supplements, there is hardly any need to run to these medicines. They should be our final choice. And then comes that which we need to avoid, dangerous medicines or that have not been properly tested, and also spiritualistic healing. We need to avoid them, have nothing to do with them. If the medicine is outright dangerous and it has not been properly tested and you are being treated as a guinea pig, have nothing to do with it. Some people say, yeah, but what about Ellen White, she got vaccinated, or they say, but Ellen White said that it was good to use quinine. No, she never says that. There's a story, and I'll read it to you, a story related by his son, W.C. White. He says that one time while we were in Australia, a brother who had been acting as a missionary in the islands told mother of the sickness and death of his firstborn son. He was seriously afflicted with malaria, and his father was advised to give him quinine. But in view of the counsel in the testimonies to avoid the use of quinine, he refused to administer it, and his son died. When he met Sister White, he asked her this question: would I have sinned to give the boy quinine when I knew of no other way to check malaria, and when the prospect was that he would die without it? And crucial question. And notice the reply. The reply, she said, no, we are expected to do the best we can. So when there are no natural ways, when there is no knowledge in regards to how to treat an illness with natural means, then we can use, because it says we are expected to do the best we can to do what? To save life. So it's an important principle. We do not deny that there is a need for operations, for the need of a trauma intervention, or for the seldom need of drugs. I have never used heavy drugs, never in my life. Oh, once when I was operated of hernia, they put me to sleep. What's it called? They gave me just sedation. But I have never had the need, even though I have had cancer. I had melanoma in one of my legs, malignant spreading melanoma. There were remedies that could be used to treat it. So I chose natural means. And so when we look at this, again, it's important for us that the Lord has given us a way to choose. We go first for the natural way. Then second, we choose that which can support us, herbs, natural supplements, technologies. And if there is nothing there, then we go to medicine with low side effects. You know that father today would not have to resort to quinine to treat malaria. There's natural ways, very powerful ways to treat malaria naturally. Fourth, finally, you would choose medicines with high side effects, but you would avoid the ones that are outright dangerous. So we ask the question, then what about the COVID-19 vaccine? And I cannot not answer that question. I cannot not deal with that question because it's on our face today. And I'm going to try to take a neutral position today, though I don't have a neutral position, but I'm going to take a neutral position to answer this question, because I know that amongst us, there are people who are pro and there are those who are against. And that reflects the views of our world today. In the world, there are two positions. There's the official position and there is the unofficial position. So quickly, I'm going to show you these two positions. I've got a couple of videos here that I'd like to share with you. I'm going to share with you first the official position. And we've all heard it. This is the position that is given to us in the news everywhere.
Australia is working hard to ensure we all have access to safe, effective and free COVID-19 vaccines, which will give us the protection to go about our everyday lives. The COVID-19 vaccines are being assessed carefully by independent clinical experts to ensure all potential vaccines meet Australia's high safety and quality standards. After vaccines are approved, they'll be rolled out, going to those most in need of protection first. To keep up to date, visit health.gov.au, authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
All right, so that is the official position. The official position tells you the vaccine are safe, effective, they are free, and they are the only way to go back to normal life. In other words, the vaccine is the silver bullet. If you don't get vaccinated, you're in trouble. But if you're vaccinated, everything is going to be wonderful. So it's safe, it's effective, and it's free. So that's one position. What about, is there another position? We always must ask, is there another position? Especially when it comes to our health, especially when it comes to drug medication. Is there another position? Is there more that I need to know? Well, let's see regarding this. And I'm pretty sure that most of us are aware of all this. But let's look at the unofficial position. The unofficial position, and this is the unofficial position is in the mouth of a former Pfizer, the vaccine making company, a former Pfizer manager or CEO, and he will talk to you about this. Just to give you quickly the other side of the coin.
Of the industry my whole career, and I'm generally pro-vaccine, but I'm pro-safety, and these COVID-19 vaccines are not safe. Very briefly, they're not safe because the gene-based design makes your body manufacture virus spike protein, and we know, and we've known for years, that virus spike proteins trigger blood clots. So there's plenty of literature. No one can fault the statement I've just made. And Dr. Vodag and I wrote to the European Medicines Agency in December pointing that out. So that's a fundamental problem. About 75% of the adverse events that occur after vaccination, which are very much higher than usual, relate to thromboembolic events, that is blood clots and bleeding. So what I've just said about the design and the property of spike protein exactly matches these serious adverse events that are emerging. Now, here's the real problem I've got, Stephen. I'm a father and a grandfather. Young people are not susceptible to COVID-19. If they acquire the virus, they usually have no symptoms and they shrug it off very easily. So they're not at risk. It's a crazy thing then to vaccinate them with something that is actually 50 times more likely to kill them than the virus itself.
All right, so that is the other side of the story. So whenever we face anything, there will always be more than one side. And so the other side of the story, the unofficial side, is that the vaccine is dangerous, it has serious side effects, and it can even cause death. And in the midst of that stand you and I, who haven't got a clue about science, we are not doctors. How can we make up our mind? How can we make up our mind? Should I be vaccinated? Should I take the vaccine? We are free to choose. We should not be coerced or forced to take something. Should I take the vaccine? We need to ask that question. So we will study in the middle there, and we will look at this and we'll ask the question by looking at the principle that we have just established. If we were to place the vaccine is not something natural. The vaccine is a form of medicine, a form of drug medication. And we could place it there in between medicines with low side effects all the way to a dangerous medicine. And that has not been properly tested. And so, should I jump for the vaccine? Only if there is nothing else to help me combat COVID-19. So we should ask first the question, is there anything natural? Are there any supplements? Are there any technologies, herbs? Is there anything else that I can use? Or are there any medicines with low side effects that are safer than the vaccine? Are there any protocols? And the answer is a resounding yes. And I want to share some of the protocols that do not come from me. These come from health experts. So let's look at this. Is there any other way to protect myself from COVID apart from the vaccine? We looked at last week a statement from the US government. They said before the vaccine came out that the best protection was our immune system. But now that's not the case. They are saying that our immune system offers no protection. And so now let's look at some alternative COVID-19 protocols for protection. And these are protocols that have been developed and have been tested now by thousands and thousands of cases that they work. And they provide an immense form of protection. And so when we look at the natural way, you can use hydrotherapy, you can use your viral bomb. They're very, very effective. You can use sun, exercise, you can detox, you can rest, you can use poultices like the garlic poultice on your feet, very powerful. But then we look at Dr. Zelenko's protocol. Dr. Zelenko is a Jewish doctor that works in New York City, and this is the doctor that treated President Trump and Luciani, his lawyer, when they got sick with COVID. And he has been nominated for a Nobel Prize because of his protocols. And he has personally treated over 6,000 patients, out of which he has lost none, with his protocols. And his protocol is very simple. It's 1,000 milligrams a day of vitamin C, 5,000 units of vitamin D per day, 25 milligrams a day of zinc, and 500 milligrams a day of quercetin. So his protocol is basically natural. It's supplements. That's what he uses to treat patients and to keep them healthy so that they will not get COVID. When they get COVID, he uses another protocol that I'm going to show it in a little while. So you can mix these two protocols. You can use the natural and the supplement protocol together, and it'll be extremely powerful to protect you. There's another protocol by a man of name Andreas Kalka. He is a Swiss scientist that he has been studying for over 20 years, a solution called chlorine dioxide solution. And I've been using this now for a couple of months. I've been making it at home. It's very cheap to make, it's very easy to make. And probably it is the most powerful viral and bacteria agent killer known to man. This is extremely powerful. And it's completely inoffensive to your body. And so his protocol goes like this. He uses 10 mils of CDS 3000 in 1 liter of water per day. And the person takes 100 mils of this solution every hour for 8 to 10 hours. And you don't have to take vitamin C when you're doing, because this is an oxidant and vitamin C is an antioxidant, so they counteract each other. So you can take vitamin C an hour earlier or an hour after you do your protocol, but not in between. I have a friend in El Paso. He's Mexican. And in Ciudad Juarez, which is the city that is bordering to El Paso, when COVID came, thousands of people got sick and hundreds were dying, and he got hold of this and he learned to use it. And he personally gave this to hundreds, even maybe thousands of people were healed by him. It has 100% success rate in treating the sick. And if you have it, While you're not sick, you will never get it. He went to treat patients. My friend went to treat patients who were extremely sick of COVID. His own father had COVID-19, and he went to treat him. He stayed with him day and night. And you know what? He never got sick, because while he was there, he was always having, protocol C, which is the protocol to keep you healthy. It's extremely powerful. These protocols, his protocols, Andreas Kalke's protocol, were approved in Brazil, and they were used in Peru and Ecuador, but not in Brazil, in Bolivia. In Bolivia, the government approved them, and they were approved to be used, and the liquid was, the universities were given permission to produce them and give them out to doctors and communities. And that they brought the curve right down with the use of CDS. It's just so simple. What is CDS? CDS is chlorine dioxide. Is a yellow gas that dissolves easily in water without altering its structure. It is obtained by mixing sodium chloride and a diluted hydrochloric acid. Chlorine dioxide gas dissolves in water and is an oxidant. Chlorine dioxide is pH selective and more acidic, and the more acidic the pathogen, the stronger the reaction. So when chlorine dioxide goes in your blood and it comes across an acidic environment, chlorine dioxide releases oxygen. And the result of that chemical reaction produces salt, table salt. That's all is left. So it's non-poisonous to the body whatsoever. It does not accumulate in your body, but it's extremely powerful, extremely powerful. It's just lethal to anything, and it's extremely lethal to COVID. The way to make it, because I've got a little video that I'd like to show you how it is made, where he himself explains, and I've been making it now for a couple of months and drinking it, and it's extremely, extremely useful. It's good to treat all kinds of diseases because it oxygenates your blood. This is Andreas Kalka teaching you how to do chlorine dioxide, how to make it in your own home.
It will be shown as followed. It is a recipient, as you can see here, something you can buy anywhere in the world right now. The basic idea is that it's something you can do anywhere, so as much in Spain, like in America, in the Philippines, or anywhere. So we have a hermetic recipient right now, and the important thing is to see that it has a crystal tab that closes hermetic, because inside we have a chemical reaction. Later we have a little shot glass that fits inside here, so the higher the better for our use. And what we have here right now are the components. On one hand we have here the sodium chloride, NaClO2, careful, it's not bleach, and the other as an activator. In this case it is hydrochloric acid, or HCl, at 4% strength. Many people don't have hydrochloric acid, so we can use citric acid as well for the same procedure to make CDS. In this case we will prepare it with hydrochloric acid at a 4% concentration. Here we have the sodium chloride at a 25% concentration. It does not have to be a 25% concentration actually. There is a 22.5 concentration as a 24 or 25% concentration. It is not so important. Here we have hydrochloric acid at 4%. But the first thing we do right now is to introduce the little shot glass inside here to see how much water we can put beside it. So we put water. The best is to use distilled water, but we can use mineral water as well. So we fill the recipient in a way that no water comes inside the little shot glass. As you can see, the shot glass has no water and the water line is just below the border. Once this is placed in the right way, what we do now is to take a little syringe like this, or something else, to measure 5 cubic centimeters. So the most easy way to measure is taking off the cap here like this, and we put the thumb underneath and we fill it with 5 milliliter. We put the 5 milliliter in the shot glass. Like this. We close the cap. And now the activator, that's a hydrochloric acid at 4%. We close it as well. Another 5. And we put it inside. Don't worry about the drops in your finger. We can wash it later. It is actually not as aggressive like some people might think. Now we close the cap carefully. We don't want to spill it around. Now we will be able to observe how chlorine dioxide gas is liberated inside the recipient. You can see it here in the space above. The smaller the space, the better the absorption. In this recipient approximately fits half a liter. It is a quite useful size to make a CDS concentration. Many people ask about the correct amounts of chloride and activator. Actually, it's a saturation of the liquid, so the gas is absorbed by the liquid, and it's a relative number. It depends mostly on the outside temperature. We can see now how the gas is evaporating inside, and we can see how the water is saturated more and more because this gas is very soluble in water. This is the way how to do it easy. Now, once we've done this, we simply put it into the cupboard and guard it and keep it there till the next morning. So we will see. After approximately 12 to 24 hours, the two liquids have leveled themselves into the same color. We can see that the water has been saturated by the gas as well as the concentration has lost its force. To take out the shot glass, the best is to put the recipient outside where it's ventilated, and so we can take it out without having to breathe any of the gas. Here we are inside a laboratory with a special ventilation, so it's not so important. What we do now is we open and we take out the glass. What we do now is we put the residual concentration into a bottle like here, and so we put the residual stuff like you see here. The important thing is not to breathe the gases. It's very useful because this type of residuals we can use for, let's say, disinfection, or like for example in the kitchen for our cutting boards or anything we want to disinfect. After these 12 hours, the concentration is of approximately 1,500 ppm. It means 0.15%. So here now, to make a higher concentration, we make a second round and we take our glass, same glass, and we repeat the process with another 5 ml of sodium chloride. And we add as well 5 milliliter of hydrochloric acid. And it is important to put it carefully inside like this and put it fast inside and close carefully again. Just like this. Now we do a secondary reaction of the liquids, and many people ask me why we are doing this. I could do the same in one round, but in this case I would use a lot more of the liquids and too much.
All right, so that's how you produce CDS. Now it's extremely powerful. You know, my mother-in-law had an infection on a tooth, and she could hardly touch it. She could hardly eat. And so I gave it a special protocol that you can gurgle it for sore throat and things like that. And in the first gurgle stopped the pain, and in a couple, more gurgles, the infection was completely gone. It works wonders. Whenever I feel my throat, if you feel it funny, like my son last night or the previous night was feeling the throat as if he was coming down with something. I asked him to gurgle it. Once he gurgled it, that's it, gone. So it's extremely powerful. It's very, very powerful, but it's completely inoffensive to the body. It doesn't affect anything. It only kills bacteria, viruses, worms or whatever like that. And so if you want to know more regarding him, I've given you the website. Go to his website and make yourself wise with it, because it's knowledge that is useful to have. So I've given you there the recipe how to make it too, in a picture format. Now, Dr. Zelenko also has a protocol that contains medications with low side effects. And to the previous protocol, he simply adds hydroxychloroquine, 200 milligrams a day. That's all he adds. It's basically all natural, but he adds the hydroxychloroquine. And this one is for patients who are at risk. But he says in his website, and I've given you the website there, that if you do not have hydroxychloroquine, you can use the other ingredient in the previous protocol, and it will work as good also. So it's simple protocols. You can buy these ingredients. I don't know whether you can have access to hydroxychloroquine in Australia, but if you don't, the previous ingredient that I gave you also is readily available, and it's not too expensive. Now, there are also protocols with low side effect medications. And there is an Australian doctor that has been well documented that he has produced a protocol with ivermectin, doxycycline. I cannot pronounce that name very good. And you take 12 milligrams a day on days 1, 5, and 9 of ivermectin. You take the next one, doxycycline, 100 milligrams twice a day. And the third one is 50 milligrams, a day. And there are many studies that have been shown that is very effective with a low side, with safe medication. And so we cannot say, dear friends, then that the vaccine is the only way out. The opposite, we don't have, if we are living in a free world, we wouldn't have to take the vaccine, because according to Inspired Counsel, we have to choose the natural and safe first. Now, if you're using your Zappa and you're using the other things that I've given you before, the chances of getting COVID are almost non-existent. And if you get it, you can use these protocols and you will recover. Now, I'm going to show you also what are the protocols in case you get COVID. Is there an option to treat COVID-19? And this is the natural plus supplements. And the supplements, if you see in the natural, you would use hydrotherapy, fever bath twice a week. You will use the cold sheet treatment 3 times a week. If they were fever, you would use the cold water rubs, and you would use contrast showers. You will give the viral bomb 1 teaspoon every hour. You would expose the person to the sun. You would allow them to rest, and you would use the garlic poultice on their feet. Plus, you would use vitamin C, 3,000 milligrams 3 times a day. You would use a vitamin D, 5,000 units, once a day. You would use zinc, 250 milligrams twice a day for 7 days. That's as far as you go. And then you would use quercetin, 500 milligrams twice a day. So that's one protocol that has been, used to treat patients with COVID, and it's been very successful. And the Zelenko protocol that he uses to treat patients with COVID are here, very similar to what I have just given you, but he adds azithromycin, 500 milligrams, doxycycline, 100 milligrams. He adds hydrochloroquine, 200 milligrams, or he uses ivermectin, which is 0.4 to 0.5 milligrams per kilo of the person from 5 to 7 days. So there are protocols, and as I said before, Dr. Zelenko has treated over 6,000 people, and they recovered. And then the Andreas Kalka protocol with CDS, which is by far, they have, you go to his website and you can read all the papers, scientific papers regarding, and all the proof regarding the claims of COVID-19 treatment. They have had almost 100% success in treating COVID patients. And there is the treatment. I give it to you so that you can have it and you can access it if you need it. Learn to do it at home. Keep it at home. Start using it, and it's fantastic. In his website, he explains everything, and you can do a course on how to learn to use CDS. I want to address a more important question, because I think in Australia, the pressure to be vaccinated is very, very big. We don't have to be vaccinated because there are other options. But you may choose to be vaccinated, and that's fine. If you agree with the vaccine, good on you. We don't, I don't look down on you or anything. I do not agree with being vaccinated. That's my position. But if you are going to be vaccinated, we should take it from this perspective. Let's think that the vaccine is not so good. I think that is the safest position to take. But you may be a doctor, you may be a nurse, you may want to keep your job. So what you could do to prepare yourself, and I've given you here a protocol that you can do from 7 days to 2 weeks before your vaccination to prepare your body for the vaccine and to empower your body to take the vaccine and not get sick and not overreact to it. And so I've given you that so that you can peruse it, you can go through it. It's a very thorough protocol of preparation. It's very good. So there's 3 steps you take. But also for those who are afraid of the vaccine, and they think that it may do them good. They don't want to take the vaccine, but they will take it because of for a job or anything. I would counsel you to do what is called the snake bite protocol. And this is using the poultice that I taught you to use, charcoal and castor oil, to withdraw the vaccine through your skin where it was injected. And so the day when you're going to be vaccinated, you will make a charcoal and castor oil poultice. You will wrap it carefully and you will take it in a cooler. And when you go to the place, you will ask the person who's going to vaccinate you if they could vaccinate you on the lower part of your upper arm, not on the top, but on the lower part, around your bicep. As soon as they vaccinate you, you will go to your car. You have 30 minutes before the vaccine is spread through your body. And so you will take your charcoal that you've poulticed, charcoal and castor oil poultice that you've got in the car. You will go there, you will put it on your arm right above the place where you got the vaccine. And if possible, you will make a larger one that will cover the lower part right through to the top part. You can wrap it around like a bandage. Once you put the poultice on it, you will cover it with plastic, could be glad wrap, you will cover it well so it doesn't leak, and then you will cover it with a woolen or a cotton piece of cloth. You can wrap it around and you will keep it for 3 hours, and then you will change it, and you will change it every 3 hours. That poultice will draw the stuff of the vaccine through your skin. The area where you were vaccinated will become red, hot, swollen, and painful. And eventually it may open up a wound and the stuff will come out. You need to keep doing that at least 3 days. But my counsel is you keep doing it until the wound heals completely. And it's very, very effective. Very effective. But you need to do it within 30 minutes of the vaccination. Now, if you were not able to take the Poultice with you, you need to put a tourniquet above the wound, above the place you were vaccinated. You put an ice pack on top of the place you were vaccinated, and you need to hasten home to put the pack, the Poultice on your arm. And remember, you change it 3 times a day and night. You keep it for at least 3 days. If did not react, if didn't become hot, red, and painful, then the vaccine went through your body. Hopefully it will not happen. Now, one of the great dangers of the vaccine is the danger of clots. So I've given you here what you can take as an anti-clotting agent. Natural things that will fight clotting. And you have the coenzyme Q10, ginkgo biloba, they are blood thinners. You must drink a lot of water. You can do steam baths 3 times a week. You must drink the juice of 1 lemon every morning. And you must have 2 capsules of cayenne pepper every day. But with the cayenne pepper, you got to watch your blood pressure, because sometimes cayenne pepper rises blood pressure. And so you start with 1 capsule and you take it for a few days and you measure your blood pressure. If your blood pressure doesn't go up, then you introduce your 2nd capsule. I met an old woman once. She was 80 years of age, and she had 2 blood clots, large blood clots on her leg. And they were going to give her warfarin, the standard treatment. She dispatched herself from hospital. She went home and she started having cayenne pepper every hour. And this woman was having a teaspoon of cayenne pepper every hour. That's crazy. I drink cayenne pepper when I have a migraine, stops it in the spot, but it almost made me vomit. And I can take stuff. She was having cayenne pepper every hour. In less than 2 weeks, the clots were completely gone and her eyesight had become normal. She recovered her eyesight. And so cayenne pepper, if there is one herb for the circulatory system and you have nothing else and you have cayenne pepper, you are fine. You will do fine. It heals the heart. It heals the arteries. It regulates blood pressure in most cases. It's amazing. It thins the blood. Cayenne pepper twice a day. And also, if you like more the other side, you can have aspirin. But aspirin, you got to be very careful, because if you thin your blood too much, you can bleed through your stomach. And instead of aspirin, you can have willow bark powder, which is the original aspirin. And so there you have some things to fight clotting. Now, and finally, I'm going to give you a 12 months protection plan. Because one of the things that experts are saying is that the vaccine, the most dangerous part of the vaccine, will be triggered between 1 to 3 years later. And so you will do this plan at least 12 months. I would counsel you that you keep doing it for a long, long while if you are vaccinated, just to safeguard. Because there are people who are as well learned as the ones who are in favor of the vaccine, and they say it's fine, the vaccine has no problems. There are people who have so many titles and they know as much as these others who are saying, hey, hold on, the vaccine is very dangerous. It can actually kill you. And the most dangerous part of the vaccine will be revealed between 1 to 3 years. If you're going to be vaccinated, protect yourself. After the vaccination, go on to this plan, which is very similar to what you did to protect yourself, but is more intense. You will have vitamin C, D, zinc. You will have copper. After the 7th day, you begin your plan. You will start having 2 milligrams of copper a day. You will have vitamin B complex, and you will have also quercetin, and you will keep that as long as is needed. And I believe that with that, you can have protection and peace of mind. My greatest concern is for the vaccinated now. My greatest concern is for the one who has received the vaccine. I believe that they are in the greatest danger. I do not take the position of being critical or down, looking down on them, because if I like them to respect my position, which I take the position of no vaccination, but I don't enforce my position. That's why I've given you protocols to defend yourself, to protect yourself after. If you're afraid of the vaccine, you can draw it out of your skin if you need to. And so I hope that you take the handout and you study it. Go and visit the websites. Make yourself intelligent. Study more. Become your own doctor. Learn how to heal yourself. And then no one can tell you, you know what is right. No one can put their finger inside the mouth. So that's the purpose of of our meetings was to empower you so that you know how to respond when you are sick. And if you go through the handouts, you will find that there I've given you the keys, simple keys. If you do not have access to any of the vitamins and all that, I was talking to a good friend of mine, a doctor, and I asked him this question. I said, but what happens if people have no access to vitamins and all the protocols of Dr. Zelenko? What do? He says, hydrotherapy. Hydrotherapy is the most powerful. And if you can do it yourself, CDS, very powerful and very cheap to make. And so I hope that the programs have blessed you. Are there any questions? Yes, Miroslava.
Hello, Pastor. I'm just a little confused on the on Andreas Kalker.
Yes.
Formula. Where do I get the ingredients?
The ingredients are there in the where you buy them.
Purchase them. Yeah.
Yes, you buy them. You go to eBay or you go to a website called MMS Detox, and they sell the ingredients. You use very little, 5 mils every time, and the mix will last you for 25 liters.
Yeah.
So it's let me turn my background off so you can see what I've got on my hand.
Do you mind if I just take a photograph of that?
Yes. Look, I'll put the. Let me go for the website. I'll get the website and I'll give you the link. I think that will be the best. That's the website where you can buy the ingredients to make the CDS. Very cheap. It's only how much? I pay about $20 for these 2 bottles, and they will last months.
Pastor Bravo, I just wanted to ask you a question. What about those of us who have already, without being vaccinated, have already been on like a vitamin C and D and zinc and so on to prevent?
Okay, if you are on that, just stay on that. Check the amounts that you are having. Yeah. And if you can include something else like quercetin, because zinc needs a transport to take it inside the cell.
That's right.
And it's inside the cell that zinc destroys the virus ability to reproduce. And the vehicle is quercetin, which is a flavonoid, or ivermectin, or hydrochloroquine. And so naturally, you can simply use quercetin, which is the vehicle that will go through the membrane of the cell and take zinc inside and stop it from reproducing.
Thank you.
And do the other things that are natural. Of course, start having the bomb, the flu bomb, the viral bomb. Hydrotherapy. Make sure you spend a lot of time in the sun. Don't be afraid of exposing yourself to the sun. That is a myth that sun gives us skin cancer. Skin cancer comes in other ways. The sun causes chemicals that have been stored under the fat of your skin that brings skin cancer. But the sun in itself does not give skin cancer. So we need to carefully and intelligently expose ourselves to the sun in the right hours so that we will have the healthy volumes of vitamin D in our blood.
Yeah, thank you.
Sam, sorry, I have missed one thing when I was Andreas explaining how to make that product, and I didn't understand if you what you do. You drink the one that is inside the shot cup, or you put the one?
No. The one inside the shot, the cup, you use it as a disinfectant. It's very powerful disinfectant. For example, we use it here when I have to wash Dad's bags, night bags, because Dad has a stoma. And so at night we use a bag that collects the urine and it smells in the morning. And so we take it, we wash it, we pour boiling water on it. And then I use that spray as disinfectant, and it takes the smell, everything away. So it's a very powerful disinfectant. The one in the bigger glass, which is the CDS, that's the CDS, the water that has become yellow. You mix them at a ratio according to the protocol that you're doing. For a maintenance ratio, you use protocol C, which is 10 mils of that solution into a liter of water, and then you drink that liter in 100 mils every hour. 100 mils every hour.
Right, and that one can help you with the vaccine as well.
That will help you with the virus. It will help you with clotting. I don't know if it will destroy the spike protein, which is the hard part of it. But you can use it as a protection. Keep using it all your life. It will not harm you. It will help you prevent many things.
So, can I ask a question, please?
Yes, Peter.
Yeah, hi. I came in late. I'm very sorry. I had commitments. I came in late, so I missed. I'm not sure if this has already been answered or not. My wife has had two vaccination shots, the Pfizer. Now, she hasn't had any side effects as yet, and I've got a little bit of info that it's going to be between 1 and 3 years. We are concerned, but I went to the doctors today to ask him. We heard that Omivectrum is a good medication to use against the COVID and the vaccine, and he had a look and he said it's restricted. It's only for a certain condition to do with the parasites. Yeah. So he wasn't allowed to actually prescribe it. And I said, well, there's got to be a way because it has previously been approved. So how do we get our hands on it? You're giving us invaluable information. So a little bit of confusion there, and there's restrictions.
Yeah, thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
Dr. Zelenko says that when you have no access to ivermectin, you can use quercetin, and quercetin is a natural flavonoid. You can buy it in a bottle. I've given you the name, and you have 500 milligrams a day. It will do the same job as ivermectin. Okay, and quercetin is readily available in Australia. You can buy it in the internet. Now, your wife, the best thing she can do now is to trust in the Lord, rejoice, and look after herself. Put her in the protocol of protection, the last protocol I gave, and that's the best she can say. If she lives worried, it's worse. The best thing is just rest in the Lord. Her life is in Jesus's hands, after all, isn't it? All of our lives are in his hands, so we can rest in him, we can rejoice, and do not worry, but make sure that she lives healthy and she does the protocol for protection. Protect yourself, live healthily, and cast all your burdens and cares upon the Lord. That's the best healing mechanism that you have. Okay? They can put pressure on us, but they cannot oblige us to have the vaccine. A lot of pressure is going to come. The government has a target of vaccinating 80% of the population. Now, why they want to accomplish that target? We don't know. There's all kinds of speculations out there. The reality is that we do not know. They may have good intentions, they may have bad intentions, but you are the one to say yes or no. It's true that, as I said last week, the greatest weapon you've got against anything is your immune system. and you strengthen your immune system. And according to the path we chose, that according to the pathway of choosing how to heal that we saw tonight, we don't need to go with ivermectin. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to go with hydrochloroquine either. You can use quercetin in its place. And you go and read in Dr. Zelenko's website, and he clearly says that, and he's been interviewed, and he says, if you do not have access to this, you can use quercetin, which is a natural alternative, and is as powerful as the others. That's the same job. You just need to take a little bit more. And so always, the pathway is always natural first. If there is something natural, we choose the natural over the medicine, because the medicine, even if it's low, it will always have some secondary effects on your nature. And so there is plenty of options up there. I've given you 3 protocols. There's plenty of other options up there, friends. So do not believe that the vaccine is the silver bullet. It's not. It's more that there's a lot more options for us there that we can choose. And also there is options to protect yourself. If you have to have the vaccine, if you choose to have the vaccine, I would plead with you that if you choose to have the vaccine because you agree with it, just make sure that just in case, help yourself by doing the protection program for at least 12 months.
Excuse me, Sam, Pastor Sam.
Yes, Lynn. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for all that interesting information that lines up with what Dr. Silt says as well, and some other people I've been watching. I've got a question though about the hydrotherapy.
Yes.
Do you, can you recommend a course for us to do so that we can become really familiar with doing it? Like, I know you've told us various steps, but I sort of need more than just hearing it once. I would like to do a course. Yeah.
Yes. Look, it's become very rare. It's not practiced amongst natural physicians because it requires so much effort. But if you go to either Wimmer, Uchi Pines, or Wildwood,
or who?
They may run internet courses on hydrotherapy, and they are very good because they've been doing it for many years.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I heard that a doctor, I can't remember his name, but a doctor at Uchi Pines has been treating COVID patients, and he's treated 100 and hasn't lost any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they use a very similar protocol to Dr. Zelenko.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
And what was the other one? Uchi Pines, Wimmer, and
Uchi Pines, Wimmer, and Wildwood.
Oh, Wildwood. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a question about the PEMF machine.
Yes.
Do you have to attach it to your body, or it just is in the room when you're in it?
No. It needs to be in contact with your room because magnetic field, and it needs to be in contact with your body because magnetic field grows low in intensity as you separate from it. So it has to be in contact with your body. And there are some who have mats, and they are, you can be on the mat for 20 minutes, or you can sleep on it, and they're very low intensity. The one that I have is very high intensity. And so, for example, before I was talking to you, my shoulder was really, really painful because I have been doing a lot of movement with my father-in-law, and I just put it for half an hour now. I hardly have any pain now. I put it there while I'm doing stuff and things like that. So it's very powerful for pain, inflammation, wound healing, treats organs. If you've got, pancreas, all your organs are activated by the PEMF. It's very good.
So it can be used for open wounds as well?
Yes,
right.
It can. And it heals them very quickly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What's the address that we get it from, Kim? Sam?
Okay, I'll give it to you. Let me go back to the internet and
what price are we talking about?
Sorry?
And what's the price? Do you know approximately?
The one that I've got is $765, I think, which is the cheapest one you will find. There's nothing cheaper, and this is very powerful. That's the wonderful thing about it. And it's made by a Christian man. His name is Anton Clemens in North Queensland. He's a lovely man. He loves to talk. So you give him a call, you go to his website, you will find his personal number there. You can talk to him and ask him many questions. He's got a lot of experience on it. ClemensPulses.com. And from him, you can also buy the Bob Beck's Zappa, which is the last one I bought. And he sells it cheap to $169. And it's very effective too to treat any type of viral or bacterial parasites in your blood. Very, very, very effective.
If we put that on, we'll never die, Sam.
If it's the will of God, we will go live from here to heaven, and we will live forever, my brother. But if it is the will of God for us to sleep, we can sleep always in peace in Jesus.
Yes, that's right.
Sam, sorry to disturb you again. I thought one question about kids that they probably will be vaccinated or they will be asked to be vaccinated. There is a different treatment for them, or is the same?
You will use similar. I didn't address the issue for children. Children do not need to vaccinate.
I know, but
and so it's really sad that they are causing them to be vaccinated. But you should do the same in treating them for, in preparing them for the vaccination. When they vaccinate them, wait for them outside the school, and or you take them to be vaccinated and just put the poultice on their arm. Or make them stay at home for 3 days. Do not send them to school, and make sure that you do the snake bite protocol.
Yeah.
Pastor Sam, it's Dimitri here.
How are you, Dimitri?
Oh, good, thank you. So I had a question. I was talking to a nurse, and I was telling her about this. That look, if I will ask them to put the jab on the elbow, right? Like, so that way I can put the poultice of charcoal. And she goes to me that what happens is that you will probably be ignored, and they're gonna give you the jab on the shoulder anyway.
Yeah, you don't ask it in the elbow. You ask it around the bicep in this area, and you say, "Could you please put it here?" And you put your finger where you want them to put the injection. And the needle. In case they put it up there anyway, you do exactly the same. But the problem is that it's closer to your lymph nodes.
Right.
So you want it further. But one of the reasons that you want it down here is in case you don't have the poultice close to you, and you have to use a tourniquet. Then you would put the tourniquet right on top of it, above it, to stop moving. But if you have the poultice with you, you can just lump it right there and then.
Okay, thank you for that. That makes sense. Thank you.
All right, well, what do you reckon? We can finish, or you have more questions? Because in about an hour, I've got a presentation. I need to speak to Indonesia. But that's fine. If you have any more questions, I'm happy to answer them. I've given you the resources. You can go to these websites. Even if you do not agree, go and listen to the other side. Because there are experts warning the world that something very nefarious is going on. And the other thing that I want to encourage you, do not live in anxiety, do not live in fear. We have a God who's greater than all men together.
Absolutely.
So just rest in him, trust him, love him, and cast your cares upon him, for he will care for you. Yeah, God bless everyone, because we are still, if you take the job and you believe in the job, and if you don't believe in the job and you don't take the job, we are still brothers and sisters in Christ. We mustn't forget that. Okay, let's pray together. Father in heaven, we thank you so much for giving us information, for giving us knowledge, for giving us a message, Father, that prepares us, that strengthens us to make right choices. I thank you, Father, and I pray that all of us will choose to live according to your will and to walk in your ways, Father, and to cooperate with you in our health. And when we face, Lord, the pressures that we are facing in this world, Father, at the moment, I pray that you will give us courage and strength that you will give us wisdom how to act. And I pray, Lord, that you will go ahead of us and you will give us peace and joy and the contentment of knowing that you will always be with us. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.